You're listening to Microbin Radio, progressively elevating the conversation. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Microbin Radio. And now, back to the Michael S. Robinson Show right here on Microbin Radio.
Hi there, welcome back to the show. So we've been talking about lessons learned in finding self, right? And as I mentioned, somebody said to me, sometimes we need to get lost in order to truly find ourselves again. What an interesting statement. My next guest says that purpose and positivity power is the reason for his company's multi-billion-dollar success. The Great Recession of 2007 almost brought his business to a close. However, recently his company generated $14.4 billion in sales. Truly remarkable. What is the secret to its success? Well, Chairman and CEO Lennox Scott of John L. Scott Real Estate says that walking in the solution and living life as a contribution is the answer. Welcome to the show, Lennox.
Well, thank you, Michael. Really appreciate the opportunity to share some concepts out of a book my wife wrote called Speaking the Language of Miracles, and how we've applied this approach to our business to walk in the positive outcome, to walk in success.
I am so looking forward to hearing all about it, because I'm all about positive thinking and finding better strategies in how we live our lives. And that's what my shows are about. So this ties right into the narrative. So before we begin, tell us a little bit about your company so we can have an overview of who you are and what you do or have been doing.
Sure. We're a residential real estate company up in the northwestern part of the United States. We have offices in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and just over the border in California. We have 3,000 broker associates. We sell 34,000 homes each year for that $14 billion in sales volume. And I just put a shout out to all our broker associates, support team, and leadership team, and the collaborative environment we've created for this success.
Congratulations to you all. I wrote a book in 2008 about the Great Recession and the fact that there were so many businesses suffering due to the fact that the economy was in chaos and turmoil, and many small businesses and medium-sized businesses were closing their doors, and the government was paying a lot of attention to a $15 billion TARP bailout for the big banks and the big insurance companies and things like that. And small businesses were really left out in the cold. So when I read your story about how your company came so close to closing and how you were able to spin things around, I was totally fascinated about it. Tell us what it means to walk in the solution.
Well, back in 2008, I met my wife, Deanna Scott, and her business was very successful. She had a dog grooming business, and she was successful, and all of her competitors were going out of business. And I asked the right question. I said, how are you doing so well? And her statement to me is, the recession is not who I am. I don't listen to negative news. I just walk in the positive outcome of what I want to accomplish. And I asked her right then and there, I said, can I borrow some of these concepts you use in my business? Because our revenues were off 50% because of the recession, how it hit housing sector. And she gracefully said yes, and then we've been applying them ever since over this last 10 years.
How does it work for those of us who are listening? How does the concept of walk in the solution apply to people's daily lives or their careers?
You bet. Right on the front of the book, it says, remember, the situation is not who you are. And if you walk in solutions, you get yourself out of the situation. And because I've been working with this concept for this last 10 years, we now flip every situation, every challenge. We instantly flip it over to what is the opportunity. And then we look at the activities to accomplish that particular opportunity. We now look at situations as an energy source to create a conversation to maybe affirm what we're currently doing or make the adjustments to what's possible. for moving forward. And there is one more item on this. Say you get into strategic planning about what you want to accomplish. Well, wanting something is almost basically the same as a situation until you put it into action, until you look at, what is the positive outcome? What is my affirmation or a declaration of who I am in that positive outcome? And that usually starts with I am or we will. It never starts out with I want or I wish. We're not wannabes or wishabes. That keeps you in the situation. It might give you temporary energy, but long-term energy is stating who you are in that positive outcome. What are the action steps, and then sense and track how you're doing on a consistent basis to keep that conversation alive.
Makes perfect sense to me. But a lot of time, you mentioned a word that is key, right? Action. Action is the thing that creates a result, whether it's a positive result of getting what you want right then and there, or a delayed result, meaning you get it at a later date. A lot of times people procrastinate, right? They find excuses not to take action. How do you move past that? Because that's the biggest obstacle for most people, right? They know what they want, they know how to get it, sort of, but taking action requires motivation, it requires being inspired, it requires the match that lights the fire. How do you take action when you feel hopeless, helpless, uncertain, fearful, all of the negative emotions that can accompany the lack of action?
Well, the first thing you do is we write down the situation or what we want to accomplish on a piece of paper and stick it up on the wall. Come back, sit down, and take a look up at it. That's the situation. Then you create what's the positive outcome of what I want as an individual. So you create that internal motivation. You inspire yourself based on who you want to be, and then create a declaration. So we have a concept of energy levels. If you observe something or you want something, you might have a 30% energy level around it. You may not get into action, but you're at least aware of it in case something comes up. You might get to a 60% energy level if you actually do an activity or two, but it often wanes because you haven't taken it on as this is who I am. But you get to a 100% energy level. We have a 5-step approach to success that we've derived out of the book that you state this, I am the first point of contact for my relationship database, because that's the opportunity to generate more business at a higher value, better service level. And then what are the action steps to accomplish that? It's keeping in contact. It's giving valued information. And there's work involved in this. And maybe you have to seek out help, maybe get additional education, do whatever it takes to accomplish, because this is who you say you are, because you say so. Mm-hmm. And then the sensing and tracking is very important. Either sometimes it's on a daily or weekly basis, but for sure on a monthly basis. How are you doing? Because without tracking, the conversation disappears. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if you want to move forward twice as fast as your competitor or accomplish something in life, sensing and tracking is a big part of that to keep it alive.
Very, very good point you're making. I was listening to what you're saying about the 40% application or 60% going up to 100% in terms of taking action and getting the results back. And I think it is so important that if you have a goal in life, right, if you have something that you would like to accomplish, you have to start taking steps, even baby steps, right? Because it's the process of doing that gets you going. And I tell people that all the time. It's great to have a goal. It's great to have aspirations in life. But certainly when you're able to, begin the process of taking action, even if it's tiny action, as in writing things down, as you're saying, and figuring out what it is I want to do, or who am I? how do I identify myself with the world around me and what I want to accomplish is very important. Now, you mentioned also living life as a contribution. Tell us about that.
Well, this is our federally registered trademark, our core value of who we are as a company. We sell a lot of homes, and transactional excellence is what we do within our business. But for who we are as a company, our higher purpose is living life as a contribution. And that's what the environment that we create within the company. Our foundation helps sponsor 30 events for children's hospitals throughout the 3-state area that help raise $15 million each year. And then we serve dinners at Ronald McDonald houses, so we get to meet the parents and through them their kids. And so we experientially learn and enjoy as a team of being a contribution to others. And then we take that and we that experiential learning and with our buyers and sellers, being support to our teammates, and then taking it home with family and friends, community, and place of faith. It's one of the great joys of living life is being a contribution to others, and that's our higher purpose, our core value, and the joy of being on a team.
So I am hearing from you, even though you've not verbalized it, that there is a correlation between living life as a contribution and walking in the solution, right? Because when you give to others, when you help others, the universe opens up the possibility of helping you reach your goal or understand what your goals are. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely, Michael. I fully agree. It brings you present when you're contributing to someone else in relationship, in service, and business is. We're talking the business sense here, but it's also in personal. Everything is centered around the relationship. 100% of business comes from a recent personal engagement, a relationship with someone else. You do business with them, they do business with you, or you're living life in the community together and creating a positive environment. It's all about relationships and putting your hand out in friendship, being supportive to one another. Your show is fabulous. You talk about elevate. And that's one of the terms we use in our company. We help elevate others. We help elevate and we elevate ourselves through learning and contributing in life.
Thank you very much for saying that. I believe that we need to remember that helping each other helps us individually, right? Because in my company, when I was the CEO back a couple of years ago, we had weekly meetings where we inspired the team members to work cohesively, bringing out the best self at each meeting. How do you do it in your company? I know you mentioned that each person that works for you go through a course. How do you inspire people consistently to perform at their best?
Well, we have a expression in the company, good to great, great to greatness. And greatness is always walking in the conversation of excellence. And that's by feeding yourself positive energy every day. It's being attending the meetings with intent, listening to your show and other podcasts that's positive energy, attending seminars. But you can also feed yourself every day. And I have positive affirmations I say when I get in my car on the way to work every day. These are my business affirmations, and I'll share them quickly. And please accept these within your individual faith. I am a powerful spirit. I am receiving all great blessings. I'm walking in joy. I'm walking in the positive outcome. I'm living in abundance, and I'm a major contribution to others. And I say these every day, so I kind of know who I am when I'm showing up, and I bring myself present and just get and others around. You bring in other teammates, no viruses. You bring in other teammates that are in that same energy, and it's just amazing what you can do together.
tell us about the book, where we can find it, the title?
Yes, the book is called Speaking the Language of Miracles, written by my wife, Deanna Scott, and you can get it at Amazon.com or go to SpeakingTheLanguageOfMiracles.com. And it's a quick read. It's a hour to 2 hour read, but you're going to want to go back through it time and time again, and it will change your life in an instant and just enhance and elevate where you want to go.
Lennox Scott, Chairman and CEO of John L. Scott Real Estate. Thank you so much for being with us, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. We'll be right back here on the Michael S. Robinson Show with Michael Priv talking about psychic energy. We'll be back.